So Yao Yilin made a deal with the swamp in the West. They told me the details. I was really shocked. The swamp said that since May 20th they have known that the CCP would launch a mass crackdown on the Tiananmen pro-democracy protest. I hadn't arrived in Beijing at that time. That's when the pro-democracy group gave Hu Yaobang the 7 demands. That's when things went bad. The so-called leaders of the pro-democracy movement, Wang Dan and Wei Kexi, appeared after that. In fact, the movement started at Beijing Normal University and Central China University of Political Science and Law, and later Beijing University joined. The swamp knew since May 20th that the CCP would start the mass crackdown on the protest, but the CCP pretended to negotiate with the students. But in fact, on June 1st, the CCP said that this was not going to work. Later, when Li Peng talked to the students, he said that he was late. He meant that it's impossible to talk about anything anymore. There's only one thing that can be talked about, which is that everyone has to leave Tiananmen Square immediately. After the negotiations with the Western Swamp, Yao Yilin went home and told Wang Qishan that from that moment on, China would be theirs. China would be controlled by 3 families, the Wang Zhen family, the Chen Yun family, and the Wang Qishan family, and Deng Xiaoping had already agreed and made a promise to them. Then they got rid of Hu Yaobang and appointed Zhao Ziyang as acting general secretary. When Zhao Ziyang found out, he went straight to Tiananmen Square to show his support. But by that time, Deng Xiaoping had already dispatched the 38th Army and the 54th Army and put them in 3 groups. They were already holding guns in the subway. But the Chinese people didn't know. The students didn't know how clueless people were. And how tragic. The West knew about it. The Western media reported it. Wow, all kinds of perfectly fabricated stories. Don't forget those fake leaders of the June 4th pro-democracy movement. There is an overseas Chinese woman named Kai Ling. She and her husband, after they left China, said they didn't want to be represented by those fake June 4th Tiananmen pro-democracy movement leaders. She's great. She knew that the narrative of June 4th was manipulated and controlled. And those people who claimed to be the leaders of the June 4th pro-democracy movement were lying and controlled. Those people were so pathetic. Anyway, the most important thing Yao Yilin said to Wang Qishan was that it's finally their time to rule China. For them, the June 4th student movement brought opportunities to Chen Yun's family, Wang Zhen's family, and Yao Yilin's family. The CCP kleptocrats saw the June 4th movement as an opportunity for themselves to come to power and control the country, and to collude with the West. That is why the United States did not impose sanctions on the CCP after 1989. The CCP knew they wouldn't impose sanctions. Since May 20th, the West already knew the CCP was going to massacre the students. So they let the students take a step forward and then killed them. Then they got rid of Zhao Ziyang. Then they divided control of the country among the families, even among their next generations. They never thought about the consequences. They knew the West wouldn't do anything, because they made deals with the swamp. They also talked about joining the WTO with the swamp.